Have you ever noticed that Gen X doesn't really talk about money? They don't flash their wealth or jump on every get-rich-quick trend. It's easy to mistake this quiet caution for a lack of ambition, but it's not. It's because they remember. They remember what happens when the systems we trust suddenly fail. Generation X grew up in the cracks. They didn't experience the post-war economic boom like the boomers, nor did they come of age in the digital abundance of the millennials. They were the kids who watched jobs disappear overnight. They saw their parents get laid off, pensions vanish, and the unspoken promise of a stable future break quietly. For them, money was never this exciting game. It was serious. It was about survival. Let me tell you a story about a guy I knew. We'll call him David. David was the epitome of this mindset. He never discussed his finances, never chased the latest investment fad, and never offered unsolicited advice. He drove an old car, lived in a modest house, and stuck to the same routine for years. Most people just assumed he was scraping by. Then, the company where many in our town worked suddenly collapsed. Panic spread like wildfire. People were scrambling, terrified about their futures. But David was calm. He had 6 months of living expenses saved up, 0 debt, and kept his overhead low. It wasn't luck. It was a Gen X strategy in action. He wasn't just getting by, he was prepared. The core of the Gen X money philosophy is incredibly simple. Don't rely on anything you can't control. That's it. They don't expect a bailout from the government. They don't expect their employer to be loyal. They don't expect the system to save them. So instead, they learn to be loyal to themselves. They build their own safety nets, brick by brick, quietly and consistently. This is why debt feels so dangerous to Gen X. It's not that they don't understand the concept of leverage. They do. But what they understand even better is fragility. They saw firsthand what happens when interest rates skyrocket, when a stable job vanishes, when credit lines are suddenly cut. Debt, in their eyes, isn't a tool for growth. It's a chain that removes your options. And for Gen X, having options, the freedom to pivot, to wait, to decide, is far more valuable than the potential for a bigger upside. You also won't see Gen X showing off their money. To them, flaunting wealth feels like tempting fate. It's like painting a target on your back. They learned a hard lesson early on. If something can be taken away from you, don't build your identity around it. So they stay quiet. They keep a low profile. This isn't weakness. It's a calculated, strategic carefulness. They're not hiding. They're protecting. But here's a contradiction that most people miss. Gen X saves diligently, but they don't fully trust their savings either. Why? Because they've seen it all before. They watched inflation silently eat away at the value of $1. They lived through multiple market crashes that wiped out fortunes. They saw the rules of the game change without warning. So what do? They diversify quietly. They invest in a mix of assets, never putting all their eggs in one basket. They hedge emotionally, meaning they never allow themselves to feel completely secure just because the numbers on a screen look good. There's always a part of them that's waiting for the other shoe to drop. They don't fully relax, even when things are going well, because they know how quickly the tide can turn. Another thing to understand is the invisible weight of responsibility that Gen X often carries. They are the original sandwich generation, frequently caught between supporting their aging parents and helping their own adult children navigate a world far more precarious than the one they entered. On top of that, they're preparing for a retirement that feels less certain than ever before. They don't complain about this. They don't post about it online. They just handle it. This is why their approach to money might look boring to an outsider. It's not about flashy wins. It's about survival with dignity. It's about building a life that can withstand shocks. To a Gen Xer, fast money feels like a trap. They've seen the dot-com bubble burst. They've witnessed the housing market collapse. They've watched friends and family lose everything, not just once, but twice, by chasing hype cycles. So they choose the slow path. Slow feels safe. Slow feels repeatable. And most importantly, slow lets you sleep at night. I'll be honest, I used to think Gen X was overly cautious, maybe even a little paranoid. Then I got older. Then life happened. The economy took a downturn, Industries shifted, and instability became the new normal. And suddenly, their way of thinking made perfect sense. I realized they weren't scared, they were experienced. They understand something profound that our fast-paced culture often forgets. Stability is not something you're given, it's a skill you build. It has to be constructed, maintained, and fiercely protected. And once you have it, you don't gamble with it for a quick thrill. In a world obsessed with speed, with moving fast and breaking things, Gen X offers a vital reminder. Fast doesn't always mean free. Security isn't boring, it's a form of power. And having peace of mind is its own kind of wealth, one that can't be measured on a spreadsheet. So if you're someone who operates this way, if you've been told you're too careful, that you're outdated, or behind the times, I want you to hear this. You're not. You are calibrated for reality. And in many ways, the rest of the world is just now catching up to the lessons you learned decades ago. There is deep wisdom in this approach. It's not about fear or limitation. It's about building a life that doesn't collapse under pressure. It's about resilience. Gen X doesn't spend their time chasing money. They spend their time managing risk. They don't dream loudly, they plan deeply. And because of that, when things inevitably fall apart for everyone else, they are the ones left standing. If this resonated with you, if it felt like real talk, not just more hype, then consider subscribing. This channel is dedicated to exploring the psychology behind money, success, and how to stay steady when the world feels anything but. No noise, just truth. Thanks for watching.